5 years old. Hello everyone, my name is Tasha and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to talk about all of the books that have made me cry in the past. I am a very emotional person. A lot of things can make me cry in books. Slight warning, this video will contain spoilers because I will talk about scenes that have made me cry. So if you see a book that you have not read, mute the video. I don't want to spoil anyone. I have 8 books that have made me cry in order from least to most tears. Let's go. Number 8 on my list is Champion by Marie Lu, the last book in the Legend series. Day suffering from amnesia is one of the worst things I have read in YA. Throughout the book, when he was having his headaches, I had this weird feeling in my stomach and I knew something really bad was going to happen. And when he actually could not remember June and June did not tell him about them, my heart broke into a million pieces. Although I did not cry as much, the reason for that is because I read a lot of these parts in public and I don't know why. So I contained myself. Little to no tears fell for this book, but I'm pretty sure if I would have read it in my bed on my own, I would have been a sobbing mess. Next on my list would be Allegiant by Veronica Roth, the 3rd book in the Divergent series. I don't think I have to explain myself why I cried at the ending of this book. Again, I did not cry as much. There were like a few tears here and there for this ending, because when Tris died, I was in denial. Like total denial. I was lying in my bed and I thought, oh, she's not dead, she'll be back, and just implying that she's dead, but she's not actually dead. She'll come back, everything's okay. And then she didn't come back. I started crying, still not a lot because I was still partially in denial. Also, I wasn't too invested into this series. Coming in at number 6 is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I only read this a few weeks ago, and let me tell you, I did not expect to get this invested into these 2 characters, Achilles and Patroclus. This was so sad because Patroclus had himself kind of prepared for Achilles' death, but Achilles was not prepared for Patroclus' death. Patroclus' death. And when it did happen, and Achilles did not want to accept it and just kept Patroclus by him, I was so sad. Why? Coming in at number 5 would be The Host by Stephanie Meyer. This is a German copy, which is why it does not say The Host. This was the first book that has made me cry, and it took me by surprise. I felt like a complete idiot back then, crying over a book. By now, it's standard. Back then, I did not have my own copy of this book, and I had borrowed a copy from a friend. And Wanda said goodbye to Melanie and Ian and Jared. I started crying and I could not stop, and I refused to put the book down, so I was crying into this book that was not my own. I was so emotional over that book, and as I said, it was the first book that has made me cry, and that just got me into this whole book mess. I don't have a lot of memory of this next book, except for I was an emotional wreck. The next book on my list is Shadow Kiss, which is the 3rd book in the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. And I remember reading this and chatting with Faye on Skype, and she had already read the series, she knew what happened. The ending of that book, when Dimitri turned Strigoi, I know there was a lot of crying, probably also a bit of screaming. I did not want to accept what happened. I think I remember Faye finding this really funny, and I was an emotional wreck, and I did not find it funny at all. I'm pretty sure this would be on many people's list, although I know a few people who've not cried about this book, which I do not understand. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I remember reading this book when I was at my grandma's house, and I read most of the book, more than half of it probably, in one sitting, into the night. At one point, I started crying, felt my heart breaking. I was sitting in my bed, trying not to be loud because my mom and brother were in the next room. I remember sitting in my bed, finishing this book at like 2 or 3 a.m. in the night, and after finishing it, I cried myself to sleep. I don't think I have to explain a lot more about this. Number 2 on my list would be Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, the 3rd book in the Infernal Devices series. Before reading this, I knew what I was getting myself into. I expected to be heartbroken and devastated and an emotional wreck, and I was all of those. There was one chapter in this book, Parabatai. That was probably the worst chapter in this book. I started crying in that chapter, and then for a while I stopped, and then towards the end of the book I started crying a lot again, and like really hard crying and sobbing, and I could breathe, and like with snot running down my nose. I could not stop crying, and I refused to stop reading. And after finishing this book, I remember feeling empty and hollow, and so many things. This book has ruined me, and I really want to reread the series, but I am terrified of rereading this book. That's why I haven't done it so far. Initially, Clockwork Princess was number 1 on this list, but then a few days ago I finished a book and it snuck its way to the top of this list. And if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen my tweets about this book and might know which book I'm talking about. All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. This book has ruined my life. Way back, like a few months ago, when I bought this book, I saw the cover and I was like, oh, that looks like a nice book. That looks bright. All the Bright Places, that sounds nice. I'm gonna get that book. Started reading this, I started loving it. The more I got into it, the more I loved it. I loved the characters, I loved everything about it. And when Finch was getting into his dark place, oh my god. My thoughts were going crazy, and I knew something bad was gonna happen, and already then I started crying from time to time, like a few tears going down my face. That was just the beginning. When Violet couldn't find Finch, I felt my heart breaking into a million pieces. I had this weird, empty, hollow feeling in my stomach. When they found Finch's body, I was screaming, crying, sobbing. I felt like I could not breathe. No book has made me cry this much. This book has ruined me so much. It was like the ugliest crying I have ever done. I mean, crying is ugly in general, but literally the ugliest crying. Just a constant stream of tears, snot, drooling, everything. And I could not stop, and usually I just keep on reading. I could not read because I was crying so much. I had to put the book down, thinking about the ending and the book. I just want to start crying again. I don't think I will ever get over this book. It was bad, like really bad. Those were the books that have made me cry in the past and ruined my life forever. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know some books that have made you cry, so comment down below telling me about it, or if you're a booktuber, film a video like this. I would love to watch it. And give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Check out my social media, and I will see you next time. Bye!